We're going to jump into a Thursday Night Football preview. Going to give you some must starts, some risky starts, and some don't starts. And I'm going to start out here with my must start. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Because Dalton Kincaid is my must start for Thursday Night Football. He is going to be out there, ready to go, coming back off of his injury, 8 targets for 75 yards. I don't know what more to say. We just encapsulated all of it in what just happened. But the one thing I'll add is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just gave up semi-big days and big yardage plays and stuff like that to both Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts on Sunday. So Dalton Kincaid should be in line for a good performance on Thursday night. Should be able to start out your Week 8 with a decent amount of points, maybe 12, 15, maybe 20 if he gets in the end zone. I'm excited about Dalton Kincaid. He's somebody that I am absolutely starting on Thursday Night Football if I need to.
Gosh, this is the Dalton Kincaid special of 4th and Troll heading into Week 8. Oh, I could not be happier. I have nothing to add because it's just transitioned from him being our waiver wire ad, both of us agreeing on this, and then you jumping right in and being like, and start him in 2 days. Amazing.
Yeah. Get him off of waivers and lock him in your lineup. There you go.
Wow. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hit us with the must start, Wes.
My must start, I want to just give some additional confidence for anyone that may be wondering if it's matchup circumstantial for this player, also on the Buffalo Bills. I'm here to make a definitive statement for everyone that lock in James Cook for the rest of the season. He is no longer a questionable player for whether or not he's going to put up points for you to win. James Cook is your starting running back for the rest of your season, except for that one bye week that they will be having at some point. Otherwise, James Cook has proven that he is a great running back for the Bills and for fantasy. And the only question we had when he had a couple of down weeks was, what does it look like when the Bills aren't just cruising through the game and they need to come back and win? Well, they were down the entire game against the Patriots until maybe like 3 minutes left. And they still went with James Cook. He is a lock. He is your must-start James Cook. Roll him out Thursday night.
Yeah. RB14 on the season right now.
Pretty good.
That preseason headline of he will take over that backfield and be a top 15 running back. But he is right there, and I'm excited for James Cook. I think there's exciting things to come for him, especially on Thursday Night Football. Lock him in. I have ultimate trust, and I will be starting him in many leagues on Thursday night. My risky start for the week is Rachaad White. Here's the thing with Rachaad White. He is a volume play. He is the guy. He is the running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There is not much other competition for him. And I think it's a risky start because not only did we see Ramondre Stevenson score a touchdown on Sunday, we also saw Ezekiel Elliott score a touchdown on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. They gave up 2 rushing touchdowns to running backs. I think that's something worth noting. And the last thing I'll say on Rachaad White is that he has a 96% catch rate this season. He has caught 22 of 23 targets this year. What he's made of those targets, I'm not sure what to tell you. It hasn't been fantastic, but he is reliable in this passing game for Baker Mayfield. And in a game where I think this Bills D-line is going to be challenging him a lot, I think Rachaad White could Alvin Kamara PPR his way to a decent week for you if you need him in a flex spot. I know he was drafted around the flex area, so if you don't have anyone else that you figured out through waiver wire or trades, I think Rachaad White can slot into a flex spot for you this week based off of some previous success we've seen for running backs against the Bills and also his reliability in the passing game. So Rachaad White is a risky start for me on Thursday night.
Your closing points was what I was going to state as well, is that I would consider him as the flex option because at this point, again, we already know what the injuries are as of now, and there's no bye week, so it's not like you have to consider Rachaad White in place of a running back. But for the flex option, depending on somebody's roster, depending on your roster, Rachaad White could be a legitimate option. I really like that you reminded us that Ezekiel Elliott scored, because that got lost in the wind, gone with the wind for week 7. Like nobody, I don't think anyone really paid attention to that happening. Saw Stevenson put up a decent amount of points, and they're like, okay, I guess I kind of got my money's worth because I listened to Noah and I traded for Ramondre Stevenson, and I'm doing pretty well now. But it's a risky start. I am with you. I thought about him as my risky start, and I considered him as a risk. I wasn't sure if it was a good or bad risk, but he hasn't been up to par exactly, but could happen here. Yeah. Well, my risky start is your must start. I was going to say the risk was Dalton Kincaid because it's coming off of your waiver wire most likely. And there's not much more for us to say about Dalton Kincaid. The reason I wanted to say it was a risk, I was going to go into this saying it was a good risk. But I think it just depends on who your tight end currently is. Like if you've obviously got... If you've got Sam Laporta, if you've got Mark Andrews, don't start him over that. If you've got Dallas Goedert, it feels like Goddard is kind of rolling in much better than Devonta Smith is for the Eagles. You know, obviously not over Hawkinson, maybe not over Darren Waller, but other than that, other than those tight ends, I think after everything that we have said about Dalton Kincaid, you could probably roll him out. You get a pretty nice head start in the tight end spot on your team going into Sunday. I really like this. As a Miami Dolphins fan, I'm quite upset that he plays for a division rival. But as a fan of football and a fan of this guy, I'm really happy he's going to have the sole opportunity as the tight end, man. He's my risk.
He should instantly slot in right now as a top 12, if not top 10 tight end. So that should be a starter in every league. So he should be in starting lineups this week, and it is, it will be a risk because we don't know what he's going to look like with the sole opportunity. It should be exciting for Dalton Kincaid. It's
one last thing, because you have him as your must start. I'll just say, I think I'd start Dalton Kincaid over Evan Engram this week.
I don't know who they play. I think that's It's interesting that I have to think about that, and you are already made up on that because you were higher on Engram coming into the season than I was.
Yeah. If I want
Engram
9
feels
points,
safe.
Great.
Yeah, Engram feels like the floor play. Kincaid feels like he could be the 18-point play if he gets the end. I don't know. We'll see. That's pretty close for me. That would be probably the cutoff point of consideration for me there of like, okay, I have Engram. Do I want... Yeah, that'd probably be where I land with those two guys there. So
fair enough.
Definitely something worth considering if you got those guys on your roster. My don't start here for Thursday Night Football is just going to harp on it again. Gabe Davis. He sucks. He sucks real bad. I don't like Gabe Davis. I'm not excited about starting Gabe Davis. He has only 2 games this year with more than 3 catches. And the Bills, just honestly, in this game, shouldn't be in the script for him to really be involved, especially with Dalton Kincaid being probably a more priority option here. So that's pretty much where it's at. I feel like 3 weeks in a row now I've just taken an opportunity to crap on Gabe Davis, but I just don't think he's a viable fantasy option. So we'll see. I'll have to see what happens. But Gabe Davis, don't start. That's it.
My don't start for this week is Gabe Davis of the Buffalo Bills because he's only had 2 games with more than 3 receptions and only 3 games with 4 targets or more. We literally wrote down the same notes as to why we think Gabe Davis is not a good option for Thursday night. And I'll also just throw in to close it out here. Here's some of the players that are currently ranked higher who have scored more points than Gabe Davis in the season. For anyone that's looking at that flex option, Tutu Atwell, Devonta Smith still has scored more. Drake London, Josh Downs, Kendrick Bourne, and Marquise Brown. So you've got some pretty good options if anyone was actually considering Gabe Davis. Double down on that. Great way to close the show. Don't start Gabe Davis.
Great way to close the show.